There is not, as much as we all wish there was, one secret tip to go from amateur to professional. There always has been, and always will be, a million little things to make a truly great photographer. Not to say that I am, by any means, but I have been doing this long enough to know that some advice is more important than others. And these 3 words are crucial. Protect your highlights. Let's talk about it. Welcome back. I know that was a little serious of an intro, but I obviously feel pretty passionate about this subject. There are a few things that most professional photographers and cinematographers agree on, but protecting your highlights is most definitely one. So what does protecting your highlights really mean? Well, super simply, nothing other than light sources in your image should ever be pure white. When we look at clouds or anything like a bright day, we don't see pure white. We see that the clouds have texture, and when we look at someone's face in the daylight, we see their pores and the detail of their hair. Detail is always the most important thing. If your highlights are too bright or blown out, then there won't be any detail in them, and it'll just look kind of wrong. It's the difference between an image like this and an image like this. You can think of literally any movie with a good cinematographer, and you won't find a single frame with blown out clouds or skin. And it goes for photography too. Just a scroll through Instagram shows some of the most successful photographers doing the exact same thing. Just to name a few, Peter McKinnon, may have heard of him, Brandon Wolfold, a little popular, and my personal favorite, Kai Bowitt. All of them protect their highlights. Another really big reason for protecting your highlights is because once they're gone, you can't get them back. Even with an iPhone camera, like my little iPhone 8, if I expose for the highlights, I can just drag the shadow slider to the right to bring the shadows back, and it looks good as new. But even with a $2,000 camera, if you blow out your highlights, they're gone forever. Just like my mom. Now, that's not to say that blowing out your highlights is wrong and should absolutely never be done under any circumstance, or you'll be banished from photography. For some people, they prefer it that way. For others, it's a style choice, and sometimes it's done creatively. But for the most part, there's a tasteful and professional way of doing it, and there's an amateur way of doing it. So protecting your highlights is important. Got it. How is it done? So let's say you're shooting a popular scene with your subject backlit by the sunset. Many beginners would expose for their subject, who's in the shadows, blow out their highlights, and lose all those beautiful clouds and colors. But not you. You sat through this whole video/lecture, and you wouldn't dare. You bring your exposure down to get all those beautiful clouds and pastel colors. But now, your subject is basically gone, right? Wrong! Once you bring your photo into Lightroom, you can just drag the shadow slider to the right, and then bam, perfection. Assuming, of course, you've shot in RAW and not JPEG, which you should have, or else. One last thing. There's a pretty popular editing style among wedding and portrait photographers you may have heard about, called, what is it again? Light and airy? It's kind of popular. Everyone has their own style. I've got no room to judge. But I've seen some not so good tutorials and presets. So pretty soon I'm going to be releasing a tutorial on that editing style, and I might also make some presets too, just because I haven't released any in a while. Either way, if you've made it this far, thank you for listening to me rant and supporting me with your attention. I know this was a long one. Let me know if there's anything else I can go over to help you, and I will see you in the next video. Peace. I got Peter McKinnon's pen. Okay, alright, I'm done. That's it. I'm sorry.